Hi, welcome back to another episode of Cover to Cover. You're here with Mo,
Andrea,
and Morgan.
First of all, we would all like to say happy first full day of summer to you. We're here to kick it off by celebrating bright women in literature. Being three strong and complex women ourselves, we are thrilled to explore how women in literature are getting better and better, and how the rest of the media world continues to focus on men. We'll discuss bold and complex women authors, including Agatha Christie, and who the Queen of England considers important enough to attend her events. But first of all, let's look at a real-life princess.
So a story is currently circulating about a princess bride encounter. Back in February, in Seattle, a toddler saw a bride taking her wedding photos and mistook her for the princess on the front of her favorite book, The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. The book was written in 1859 and is a detective-style mystery novel. The little girl hasn't actually read the book. Her mother said she is just very attached to the beautiful woman in white on the cover. She was carrying the novel around with her when the encounter happened. The bride was so touched by the little girl's reaction that several photos were captured by her wedding photographer of her with the little girl. I guess if you're going to be mistaken for someone, it might as well be a literature character.
I think that's so precious. And how special must she have felt on her wedding day when she was just out doing her thing that a little girl was like, you are the person on this book and you are my hero.
So cute.
So sweet.
Love it, love it. And I love that this little girl was just carrying around this book.
Yeah. It's like her safety blanket. Instead of like an item, it's like just books, which is the perfect way to love literature, I think.
Yeah.
I do think it's interesting that little girls, they gravitate towards this idea of the princess.
I was thinking that too. It's not like, oh, look at that doctor. I want to be like this doctor, Or look at that really strong soldier over there. I want to be a warrior hero like her,
I think it would be super cool if a little girl would carry around like Joan of Arc and then see women in warrior costumes. I don't know when that would happen. Halloween, I suppose, which is an excellent time to dress up as a literature character. Have you guys done that? Have you dressed up as any?
I was a medieval princess, and I'm going to go with I was Guinevere.
Nice.
I've dressed up as princesses, as punk rockers. I've even once dressed up as a trash can. I don't know why, what I was thinking. Maybe it was like Sesame Street themed.
Oh, nice. Literary characters are kind of my go-to for Halloween, and I'm always trying to find fun ways to do that. One year for Halloween, I dressed up as Hermione Granger, but as the cat version when she took the Polyjuice potion. So I was half cat, half Hermione. Last year I was Buttercup from The Princess Bride, and the year before I was Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones. So that's kind of my jam.
You would be the perfect Nancy Drew.
Don't
you think?
So sweet.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Are you going for that
New
this year?
Halloween idea. I have to go write this down immediately.
I can't wait for Halloween because I think we should all dress up.
We should.
have a competition or like something where people post their pictures on our page
Yeah,
so
for
we
sure.
can see what literary
That's a good
characters
idea.
And if you
dress up
have
as.
photos of some of your literary Halloweens, send them to us.
We'd love to
show
see
them in the comments. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of literary princesses, girls, I just happened to have my wedding at a place where there was a library, so I have been the literary princess.
Aww.
I think we're going to show a picture real quickly of that, and you'll see me as the princess.
How sweet.
So sweet. I absolutely love this photo of you, and that's amazing. Well, more and more stories are being written about bold and complex women, so hopefully children will misidentify us as those cool ladies in the future like Joan of Arc.
So Hollywood elites have often found themselves under fire with so many stories projecting the male narrative. But authors are way ahead of the curve, and we can see that in their strong female characters and their role models that we get at such a young age, like Nancy Drew or Jo March from Little Women, and grow with them through characters like Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice and Hermione Granger from Harry Potter. There's no shortage of amazing women in literature, and we'd like to keep it that way. So who are some of your role models?
So I personally would definitely have to say Hermione Granger is a #1 role model for me, because when I was a kid, I grew up with her. I mean, I went to these book releases all the ways through when I was in college. So she grew with me, and it was such a special part of life. And Hermione has become this really strong feminist symbol at the Women's March in Washington and the ones that happened around the country back in March. There were lots of signs that referenced Hermione, which I thought was amazing. They said things like, what would Hermione do? And Harry would have died in the first book without Hermione, which is true. but also just so powerful that this character from a book series has given light. Like, it's lighted the fire within women to know that they can be brilliant and strong and productive, and it doesn't have to be about how pretty they are or how much the main character likes them.
Right, for sure. One of mine, and I've talked about her on the show before, is Violet Baudelaire from A Series of Unfortunate Events. And I mean, she was smart and cunning, and she always got her siblings out of these rough situations, and she was always the hero, but she was also very humble about it. She would say that Klaus was helping her brother, and I just thought it was amazing. So I just remember wanting to be like her, and I've talked about on the show how, like, you know, she would tie her hair up in a ribbon and like think of these crazy ideas, and I did the same thing as a little girl. I looked up to her that much.
I have two. One, when I was a little girl, Anne and Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I just loved her personality, her spunk, her red hair, except when she accidentally dyed it green. So I loved her character and her strength and how she overcame trials in her own life. My next one as an adult would be Eleanor Dashwood from Sense and Sensibility. And people go for some of the other Dashwood sisters, but I feel like I relate to her because she was the sensible one and very practical, and that fits more with my personality.
I love her. I love the Dashwood sisters.
Yeah, it just made me feel it's okay to be the practical one out of the sisters. So
I was also really drawn to Lucy Pevensie from The Chronicles of Narnia. She was one of the children. She's the youngest child, and she was the first one to cross through the wardrobe and enter into Narnia. And then, of course, nobody else believed her, but she always stood by her beliefs. She was a really strong character, and when things got crazy, Lucy kind of kept things together. She was a center. She was Aslan's favorite. She was just this beautiful character, and I also felt like I got to grow up with her. And then I have one more, Deanna Wolf from Prodigal Summer, which is my favorite book by Barbara Kingsolver. She was this amazing, wonderful scientist who lived in solitude and focused on her work. And she was a kind of a very sad character, but she was also very empowering to just be the symbol of what you can be, and you don't have to follow the social norms. You don't have to live by the standards of the world. And she did her own thing, and she followed her dreams.
For sure.
that's great.
Yeah.
We would love to hear some of your favorite literary women. Yeah, share them in the comments. Let us know.
Yeah. So these bold and complex female characters are often brought to life by female authors.
Yes, so female authors have been leading the charge since it was unfashionable to do so. We have writers like Agatha Christie and Jane Austen to thank for paving the way for today's success stories. Authors like J.K. Rowling, Gillian Flynn, Danielle Steele, Toni Morrison, and many more are recent inspirations for aspiring female writers everywhere. However, men still seem to saturate the market drastically more than women do. Well, back in March, a bookstore called Loganberry Books decided to make a statement about the gender gap in literature. They displayed all books written by men with the spine side out, silencing them, and displayed works by women more prominently. Just 30% of the fiction books on the shelf were written by women. So what do you think about that statistic?
I think it's kind of staggering for this bookstore to only have 30 or so % of the books on the shelf written by women, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure.
It's a very small percentage.
Guys, though, it bothered me. I mean, I get why this bookstore turned them all backwards, but I don't know, that kind of bothers me.
Why?
Even though I'm a woman, would you do that for people of other races or religions or from other places? It's just silly. Let good books sell.
That's an interesting point. I feel like I get what they're doing too, that they wanted to, visibly show you this disparaging gap between the writers, but also just because their bookstore only had about 30% or so women authors on the shelf, it doesn't mean that that's what's happening at all bookstores. It's entirely possible that that's just a product of their store, but I personally really like it. I think that it was a beautiful kind of art piece to say, here's what's happening in the world of books.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're saying, I mean, women are leading the charge now, and that hasn't happened historically. I mean, women weren't even admitted to college till the 1830s. I mean, think about how long people have been in this country.
Yeah, men definitely had a head start, which could contribute to the reason why there might be more men on the shelves, because we just weren't writing books as early. So, there might be 20 Charles Dickens books on the shelves, but there's only going to be like 4 or 5 Jane Austen novels, and it's not a product of what she loved or how well she wrote. It was a product of society.
Right.
And what she was allowed to
And
do.
I think, women were being silenced during a certain time period, and now it's the complete opposite. And I think we should be really proud of that.
Yeah, didn't Jane Austen publish one of her books and she didn't even put her name on it? She put something like written by a woman or by a woman or something like
Yeah,
that.
I think so.
And there were some female authors that write male author names, like pen names of males,
Sure.
because it was, it was inappropriate for women to write about certain things like this in their time period. But men could, so it's crazy.
Yeah, and throughout the years of publishing, it's also possible that women had more trouble publishing books and getting visibility because they didn't have the same kind of connections as men, and also because of, frankly, there's a lot of businesses where it's sort of a boys' club and it's harder to break in if you're a woman. So
Yeah.
I think we're definitely changing that statistic,
The
as
statistic.
time goes on.
It's crazy, for sure.
Yeah.
There's a statistic in 1780. Kenneth Lockridge estimated that the literacy rate of New England women was half that of men's. And look where we are now.
Yeah, we're coming along nicely.
For sure.
Good job. So I just wonder, is the problem with women not writing, is the problem the publishing industry, is the problem is that their books just aren't as good and they're not selling? Is it
Yeah.
the bookstore? Who
I think
knows?
it's probably all of those things.
little bit of
yeah,
everything.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will likely see the statistic change more over the coming decades, especially with the shifting demographic of readers. 7 out of 15 books currently on the New York Times bestseller list were written by women, and many of these books tell the stories of women. Novels have evolved to include more dynamic, strong female voices over time, and women have taken notice. Even without the typical romantic framework, women are simply reading more than men these days. According to studies conducted in the US, Canada, and Britain, men only account for 20% of the fiction market, and women take the cake with 80%. Studies also say that the average US woman reads 9 books a year compared to the average man reading 5. So what accounts for the gender gaps in female readers?
I think it's really interesting, and I wonder if it goes all the ways back to childhood. Like, is there something about the way that children are being raised where girls are more encouraged to be quiet and indoors and reading, and boys are often encouraged to be outside playing sports or doing activities? And I don't say that to be like super sexist. That just in my experience is definitely a thing that I've seen.
Yeah,
Agree.
that's a good one. And I think, I see a lot of really strong moms trying to get connected with their kids, so trying to create this future for their kids. So moms, even when they have toddlers, they're reading to them and they want them to succeed and, succeed beyond high school and beyond college and all of that. So you see that a lot with moms too.
Yeah. And they say that girls tend to learn quicker, like the learning pattern for children, girls pick up things faster. They are more adaptable that way. So it's possible that they just pick up the reading habit sooner, and so it's more ingrained in them. And so perhaps boys aren't reading until later, and it's just not as big of a deal. Because it's not saying that they don't read at all, it's just saying they don't kind of read as much as girls do.
Yeah, they don't start as early. I also think just little boys just have a ton of energy and need to get it out, and to sit down and read a book, that takes discipline, and that's something even I struggle with. Just to sit down for 20 minutes at a time, because then I'm like all over the place and I'm wanting to do a million other things.
Do you think we're encouraging boys to be like outside and doing sports and all of those kinds of things, and then
Yeah.
girls being inside?
Yeah, I think
Still,
so.
that might be a huge assumption, but
Yeah, could be. And also, women are known to be more empathetic, which we have talked about before, is a big part of literature, this sort of empathetic connection and understanding and feeling emotion. And because we feel that more strongly, maybe we are more attuned to just picking up another book and always having something on the night shelf and always reading. Whereas guys maybe get disenchanted with the book that they're reading. I know my husband especially, he's not a completionist. If he doesn't like the book, he's not going to finish it. But me, when I get involved, even if I don't like it, I have to see what happens.
You're no
always
quitter.
to the end. I'm not a quitter.
Well, whatever the case is, we just want to encourage everyone to pick up a book and read. For children, for yourself, we highly encourage reading. It will change your life and make you smarter. We've talked about that. But anyway, but the thing we know for sure is that we're going to continue to read more and more ourselves, and we hope you do the same. And we're going to focus on closing the gender gap in every age and gender. So, yeah.
Hashtag reading for all, hashtag cover to cover.
Yes.
So, speaking of boss babes in the literary world, Agatha Christie is making headlines with an exclusive photo exhibit that will be showing at the National Museum Cardiff in Wales. It will feature her personal photos with insight into her family life, marriages, international adventures, and her writing process. Agatha Christie lived from 1890 to 1976 and is the mother of modern murder mystery. She is a true inspiration for many contemporary authors, and her exhibit runs until September 3rd, so schedule your visit quickly.
I think this is so exciting because it's kind of like that conversation we had about when letters are discovered by your favorite authors that you get to read. These are her personal photos, so we get to see this sort of look into her personal life. And I think that's pretty exciting, especially if you're an Agatha Christie fan.
Yeah.
Or a murder mystery fan. I mean, think of all of the mystery books out now that have been influenced by Agatha Christie.
Yeah, and of course she is the mother of modern murder mystery. And I have a confession to make. I have not read one of her books. Have you guys read Agatha Christie?
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I haven't. It's like on my list. I have a couple of ebooks that a friend gave me. Murder on the Orient Express is on my list. I'm going to make it happen. I have to do this.
Didn't you have a murder mystery party the other day? What were you?
I love murder mysteries, and I can't believe I haven't read
Aw.
it. I'm like ashamed. I always feel so ashamed when I haven't read something like really popular, really good.
Yeah.
And I was telling you this the other day. Sometimes I'll accidentally lie about it because I'm embarrassed, and then I'm like, it's worse. I've lied.
Do you guys do that?
So, truth confessions. Be yourself. No one is judging you, but also like read Agatha Christie because I'm going to do it too.
Good. But there's so many great books out there. It's hard to get to all of them.
It is. It's almost impossible. It's never
So
enough time.
You're going to put that on your list.
Yes.
You're going to put that on your night shelf. And so picking up what we put on our night shelf or nightstand, we love to honor influential women in writing. And so we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, Tiffany is going to feature an up-and-coming influencer that we can add to our to be piled. So Tiffany, we'll see you in just a minute. And she's going to tell us what is on her nightstand. Thanks, Tiffany. Well, we heard in the comments that there was no sound, so Tiffany is going to redo that segment and we're going to post it later because this is such an excellent book and everyone should learn about it and read it. Well, we love that Agatha Christie is being honored with an exhibit, and we've been honoring some of our favorite authors all day, but there's a story circulating right now about others being honored.
Yes, so every year, Queen Elizabeth issues the Queen's Birthday Honors, recognizing people across the UK who have made extraordinary achievements. There are many awards given out, and of course, J.K. Rowling has made the cut. She will receive the Companion of Honor Award for her contributions to literature and philanthropy. It's a very prestigious distinction and is only awarded to a limited amount of people. Congrats, J.K.
Yeah, and I mean, of course she received this award.
Yes.
Her work with We Are Loomis alone is incredible, not to mention that she wrote the world's best-selling book series of all time. Just to say.
Just saying, we walked the earth with her, and I'm super proud of that.
Yeah, so that's pretty incredible, and I think we all feel really excited that she's an author that we support and we love and that we follow, and we'll just continue to see all the great things she does over the years.
Yeah, for sure. So we're, like Morgan said, we're going to redo Tiffany's flash sale book, but we are still having the sale after this episode. So every episode that we do, we run a flash sale at the end for 19 minutes. And today is no different. We are going to have the book Brave Enough by Cheryl Strayed for 19 minutes at the conclusion of this episode for just 99 cents. So be sure to grab yourself a copy.
And as always, we have t-shirts.
Yes.
So if you share this post and share the video and send me a message, we'll send you a t-shirt. Tell me if you want V-neck, crew, your size, and your address, and we'll get that out to you today.
And if you've gotten your t-shirt, send us pictures. They're so cute.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. I'm Mo.
I'm Andrea.
And I'm Morgan.
And we will be back on Friday, June 23rd at 9 a.m. Central Time. Until then, keep reading, writing, and being awesome. I know we will. Bye. Bye.